Hey guys, Scott here finally with some thoughts on the gameplay of the Singularity and also the new map. Again, sorry about the mic setup right now. My current one broke, so waiting on the new one. So I do think I feel pretty positively about the Singularity, and that's a very, very refreshing thing. If we got 3 bad chapters in a row, I was going to be very sad. He has one very glaring flaw right now, which makes him not very fun to play as right now. But I don't think there's any fundamental problems with the killer. I think this is a concept that is easy to fix. It's easy to address the main issues behind the killer. And I think this is something that, with a couple of patches, a couple of like little tweaks and stuff like that, we're going to get something that's actually pretty enjoyable for the game. And I'm very happy to say that. So if you're unaware how he works, basically what he does is he shoots these little pods that are just sort of darted all over the map like that. You can attach them to basically any surface that's not a locker, a hook, or like a generator. None of like the main gameplay objects. So you attach these little things, and then you can at any point switch to the camera of where that little blob on the wall can see. And if you hover over Survivor with this reticle, it tags them with a little tracker like that. Once they're tagged with that tracker, it's sort of like, you've become infected with Plague, or now you're infected with, Nemesis or something like that. It sets them to a different state where if you hit them with another one of the camera shots, or you directly hit them with a projectile hit from your power, basically, it's basically hit scan, then you teleport to them very quickly and you get slowed down for about 2 seconds. So it's not a guaranteed instant hit or anything like Hag might be able to do a scroll wheel and just instantly slap and hit you. So it's not quite the same there. But after you have that teleport for a few seconds, you go into overdrive, and in overdrive, you vault much faster, you break pallets very fast, and you don't get stunned whatsoever. You just get slowed down a bit by pallets. This means you can actually swing through the pallet as well. Additionally, if you are in overdrive, if you teleport to someone who's on the other side of a drop pallet, you'll just straight up break the pallet instantly. But you still get slowed down for several seconds. So even then, it's still not a guaranteed hit. But he does get rid of resources of the map very quickly, assuming that they have the tracker on them and in a chase. He also counters holding W, which makes the killer very enjoyable. After you get a hit, if they're still in line of sight and they have a tracker on them, you can just teleport to them again and make up all that distance instantly. So it feels very satisfying to be able to counter the whole holding forward thing. This is not something you can do against this killer, which again makes him feel very good to play. And I think anything that de-incentivizes that style of gameplay is really nice. So all of this sounds really good, but he has a massive, massive flaw right now, and that is the EMPs. So scattered around the map as Survivor, there are these boxes that have EMPs in them, and when you use the EMP, it not only removes the tracker from your body, but also disables all nearby cameras for, I believe, a minute, which is an insanely long time. And I'm okay with that. There needs to be some type of counter. If there's no counter to his power, then you're going to have a scenario where he's just basically unstoppable in a chase. He's just going to shred through everything very quick. So you need to be able to have something to counter, and that's what the EMPs are for. And the thing is, you need to be able to use the EMPs quickly. Otherwise, he's going to be too good at tunneling, because then the Survivor can't ever get the thing off of them unless like somebody else like helps them. And that's not something you can rely on in solo queue. And that's going to be very frustrating. So I understand why the EMPs are so quick to use. My main suggestion would be make the EMPs take more time to acquire, because you can just drive by, pick that shit up in a chase and use it as you're vaulting and stuff like that. It's way too easy to acquire these things. I'm okay with them being strong. I'm even okay with the duration being a full minute. I think the duration of these EMPs is so long because they don't want him to be a 3-gen killer. They actually specifically kind of designed him to not be a 3-gen killer because of how long an EMP lasts on stationary targets. Now, if you're using it in a chase and someone EMPs it, who cares? You just break it and throw down another one 2 seconds later. It's not a big deal. So it really incentivizes him to be more of a chase killer. He's sort of like a less annoying Hag, if that makes sense. And yet he's more enjoyable to play. The only thing stopping it is these EMPs have no time investment to acquire. It's ridiculous how plentiful they are and how quickly you can get it. So if you're unaware, there's boxes, there's like, I don't know, it's like 8 or 10 boxes. They're scattered everywhere. There's so many boxes. And they automatically open themselves over time. So at the start of the match, there'll be like a very long bar, and you can speed up the bar by opening it yourself. But the boxes will essentially automatically open over time. And there's so many boxes on the map that you pretty much can just drive by, pick shit up whenever you want. That's when I was playing Survivor. I was literally never under any threat whatsoever. I just always had an EMP in my hand. There's always a teammate that can help you if you're not in that scenario. When I was playing Survive with Friends, because I was playing against my viewers that I knew how to play the game, because every time I test a killer, I need to go against players that know how to play, obviously, because every killer is amazing against babies. And so that's what I did. And when they started like getting coordinated with the EMPs, there was basically nothing I can do. I was getting shit on almost every single game. So when survivors learn how to coordinate with the EMPs, at the current rate, the killer is very weak. And that is why I think EMPs need to be more of a time investment to pick up. Because at the very least, if we have a scenario where the EMPs are very strong, but at least they take some time to actually acquire now, then at the very least, we're having some natural slowdown. It feels more fair for the survivors because they have a chance to counter your power, which is very strong when you have it set up like that. But also, it gives the killer some free slowdown as well. So the game overall is more fair for the survivors and it's slower for the killer. So it just seems like a no-brainer that these chests should not automatically open all the way. Maybe make it so they automatically open to like 75%, and then you need to spend 5 or 6 seconds opening the last 6%. Just so it's not free and everyone always has an EMP. Because it would be to the point where I was playing against players that knew what they were doing, when I would launch my power, before I could literally come out of cooldown of me aiming it, it was gone already. And then even if I hit them again, then another teammate would come and just EMP that one off too. It got to the point where using my power actually became a detriment because everyone just always had EMPs the entire game. And that was very frustrating. And it would be way less frustrating if I knew the game was going slower as a result of them being altruistic and helping each other with EMPs. Because then, yeah, my chases are not going to go quite as fast, but the game is going to go much slower too because now everyone's spending, a certain amount of time acquiring these EMPs every single time. And I think that's the only change the killer needs. They just make it more of an actual ordeal to get an EMP into your hands. I think the killer is honestly very good design, and I'm very happy with it. So that's what I'm saying. He's just one change away from being super good. Right now, he's kind of dog shit because of how plentiful EMPs are and how little reason there is to not pick them up whenever you're near a box, which are everywhere. So as soon as they change that, I don't know what aspect they're going to change. Make it take longer to pick up, make them so they don't automatically open themselves past a certain point. Make them take longer to activate, make it so you can't vault while you're activating them, kind of like Artist Crows, it resets the timer or whatever, just something. There's like 10 changes they can make that are very easy to do, honestly, and they're not like fundamental flaws like Skull Merchant where I don't even know how to fix you. There's a lot of very simple fixes they can make to address that one issue, which makes it more fair for survivors because they can still use the EMPs. It just takes longer to get it, which means that the killer has more time to chase people and everyone's happier. So seems like a no-brainer, very easy fix, and I think this killer is going to be in a great spot. His add-ons are pretty interesting too. His purple one that starts everybody with the slipstream on them is, I think, one of his best, if not his best. It's sort of like Wesker's, where they all start infected. It basically adds a side objective at the start for free slowdown. It's like a free corrupt intervention. Very good. And all that is great. So I think Singularity is very close to being an amazing addition to the game. Just needs one little tweak. And then there's the new map. I mean, we knew it was going to be dog shit when they said that they were proud of how dense the map is. They're just getting worse and worse. The thing is, I'm not even disappointed. I expected absolutely nothing. I knew it was going to be bad from the moment they said that, and it's just as dog shit as everyone thought it would be. So new map's awful. What else is new? Every map they make in the past year has been just terrible. I don't have to explain more than that. It's just very bad. It's too dense. There's line of sight breakers every 3 feet. It's miserable to navigate as both killer and survivor. Finding people is an absolute nightmare. Using any power with any line of sight, like the killer the map came with, is miserable. So complete failure design on the map, and I hope I never actually get it. But killer itself, super salvageable, can be very good with a couple of quick changes. So overall, I'd say I'm pretty happy. Those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching.